We're back, baby. This time a little different, not UFC, going to be some PFL action going on. Figured before tomorrow, going to run the 19.99 package tomorrow. I am going to have a free bet video out for UFC. But I just kind of fucking around looking at some fights tonight, and I think there's a couple that I like enough to hopefully make some money. Maybe we could roll it over to tomorrow for us. I'm hoping so. And I figured, you know what, I'll throw out a free PFL video today, break down some of these fights. Everyone included is literally the first, I think, 3 fights of the night. So you don't even got to watch long. Prelims start at 6. This is going to get out kind of late, but it is what it is. Figured I'd put it out. I just got off work, and we're going to run it. We're going to jump right into it. Just a couple units tonight. Nothing super crazy. In the first fight of the night, we have Corey Hendrick taking on Martin Hamlet. These guys have actually fought before. Corey Hendrick picked up the submission win in round 3 last time as a big underdog. Tonight comes in as an underdog again, this time a lot less, though, at plus 140 odds. Looking at the lines for this one, I was just on DraftKings. These odds are DraftKings. FoxBet didn't have any. I just didn't really understand the odds for this one, and it kind of reminds me of how I felt on Pena, which we saw how that went. And I don't know. I was looking at this one, though, today. Hendrick inside the distance plus 300. Those odds seem kind of crazy to me. We look at what Hendricks has done overall in his career. 9-4, 8 wins inside the distance, so 8 out of 9. Not bad. 5 submissions, 3 KOs, 2-1 in the PFL. And honestly, his only loss against Camozzi was kind of a bad loss. Camozzi, pretty much a journeyman fighter, very average in the UFC, if not poor. But he did beat Hamlet already, right? And he beat Sordy already, too. So he has 2 decent wins in the PFL and finished both of those wins. An underdog in every single fight, too. Like an underdog in his last one out. Got the second round TKO. Tends to start slow, has really good leg kicks, has good head kicks, good kicks in general, realistically. Decent ground game, not really a master of anything, but he has what it takes to kind of just break guys, decent pace, decent pressure, and just kind of finish the fight. We look over at Hamlet, he is 9-4 as well in MMA, 6 finish wins as well, 3 TKOs, 3 submissions, and 3-3 in the PFL. And when we look at who he's beat in the PFL, it's very unimpressive. You know, he doesn't really have a landmark win, hasn't really beaten anybody who's really good. Kind of came in as a prospect who was like just going to be this absolutely great wrestler, and he is. I'll give him that. He is a great wrestler. When he can get the fight to the ground, he has good raw power. You know, round 1, he comes out. Even his last fight, he landed a straight right hand that kind of stopped the action for a second. His opponent was like, all right, like that one hurt, and then he got knocked out. But he has power. You know, he's not a bum, absolutely not a bum. But he just doesn't really put it all together in fights. What I heard this week from the PFL that I liked a lot is that these bottom 2 fights punch their ticket to next season's competition. So the winner gets a seat in next season's competition, and the loser's done. The loser gets cut from the PFL, which I kind of like that for Hendricks in this spot, right? Like, I just think that's what you want to see. Hendricks is a guy who is hungry. He tries to go out there and finish fights, especially now knowing his job's on the line. I just think he's going to go try to finish this fight, and Martin's just going to be kind of lackadaisical. Maybe round 1, come out with that heavy wrestling game plan, try to get it to the ground, but as he starts to gas and he starts to remember the first fight, I just think Hendricks should take it over and probably finish him, end of round 2, round 3. I don't know, sub or KO. I think either is live. I really like the leg kicks of Hendricks, kind of underrated. He has really good kicks. Again, do you want to be kicking at Hamlet so much going to the ground? Probably not. But I just think he has what it takes to do it again. If Hamlet gasses like he did last time, there's no doubt in my mind Hendricks is going to finish this one. So we'll take a shot on it. 3-1 inside the distance, 1.5 units. That's the play here. Nothing crazy. But I do like those odds. A 4.5 unit return if it hits. And if not, you're only down 1.5 units. And then we will probably pick it up on the next piece. The next piece is going to be a parlay. And again, the next 2 consecutive fights. It's going to be Marcelo Nunez, Dylan Potter's one of the fights. And then Rob Wilkinson and Dylan Monte is going to be the second fight. A little different how we're playing both of these ones. So for the Nunez side, we're going to take Nunez inside the distance. And this one I love. This one, if you just want to bet this tonight, if you're like, I don't really like the parlay, I don't like this, or you're just looking for someone who kind of agrees with you about this fight, then this is your fight. Nunez inside the distance. This is a super interesting one. Nunez 8-1, 8-1 overall, 8 finished wins, 6 submissions, 2 knockouts, 1-0 in the PFL. And he just beat Bevon Lewis, who fought in the UFC. Not very good in the UFC. I think he only had 1 UFC win, had a Contender Series win, but he submitted him in the second round. So that's something, right? I mean, it's better competition than a guy who's 2-10. We'll take that win. At the end of the day, you look at this one, it's pretty easy to look at. Nunez is a grappler, IBJJF, champion, Worlds, Pan Am, American Nationals. I mean, this guy has done it all in the grappling world. And transitioning to MMA, he actually fought MMA earlier in his career, just kind of took a layoff and started doing grappling tournaments, and now he's back into MMA. And I think he's going to be pretty good here in the PFL. They're trying to build him up, it looks like. The heavyweight division is, whatever. It's kind of bummy. Everyone's heavyweight division is kind of bummy. But I think this guy can make a run in a tournament, and we'll see what happens here. He's going to try to get this one to the ground. Like I said, we're looking at his opponent, Dylan Potter. This is interesting. Dylan Potter's 10-5. 10-5 overall. 10 finishes, 7 submissions, 3 knockouts. So 10 overall finishes for Potter looks really good until you look at his competition. When you get into that and you start seeing guys he fought, he's actually 10-6. Lost one on the Contender Series as well, but the dude popped for PEDs and it never counted against him. But when you look at his competition, it's absolute dog shit. It just is. There's no good wins on his record. He's really fought and beat nobody of note at all. And interestingly enough, I was just kind of checking his social medias out today, and in October, after his Contender Series loss, he retired. Literally retired from the sport. Retired from the sport, which is fine, whatever. Guy retires, it is what it is. And then in his retirement post, he said, I'm the guy who doesn't really like to train. I don't really even like fighting anymore. And then when it comes down to it, 2 weeks away, they ask me if I want the fight, and then I say yes. Well, isn't this fight going to be a 2-week short notice replacement fight? I don't think this guy wants to be there. I think it's just a quick cash grab. He can get some money, go out there, lay down, get submitted in round 1 or 2. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And at minus 165 odds, makes a really great parlay piece. And minus 165 is just inside the distance. I think Nunez can knock this guy out as well. I assume it's going to be submission, probably arm triangle, something like that. Gets on top of him. The guy kind of just rolls around and gets finished. On 2 weeks' notice after you're retired, I don't see how you're going to come in here and be in any kind of shape, especially at heavyweight. Give me Nunez inside the distance all day, minus 165. But that is just the first leg of our parlay. The second one is going to be Rob Wilkinson and the Monte under 1.5 rounds. That's minus 130. I went back and forth with how to play this one. I really did like Wilkinson kind of inside the distance was what I was looking at originally. But man, something's just giving me this feeling that like Monte might clip him and hurt him and finish him. I don't know what it is. I think Wilkinson's the better fighter. I think Wilkinson will finish. But I like the under 1.5 more than I like Wilkinson inside, and we actually get better odds on it. So taking a quick look at this one, Wilkinson 15-2 overall. Interestingly enough, did fight in the UFC, but he had 2 finished losses against Siar Bahadrzada, who at the time was an absolute tank. The dude could put anyone out. And Israel Adesanya, who I think we all probably know, right? We know who that guy is. No shame in that loss, getting finished. But 15-2 overall, since that point, he is 7-0 in combat sports since getting cut from the UFC. 4-0 in MMA, I believe 2-0 in kickboxing and 1-0 in boxing, and finished 6 of those 7 fights. Moreover, finished 14 of his 15 MMA wins, 7 by sub, 7 by KO. He's 2-0 in the PFL. He moved up to the light heavyweight division, and he's looked good. And he's only 30 years old, which is crazy. Like, I remember when he was fighting in the UFC, and it seems like forever ago now because it was. But he was just kind of a younger guy, building out, getting better, training at Factory X now. I mean, this guy's pretty good, and his striking has looked great. It's looked great in the PFL. He's finished both of his wins there. I think Wilkinson probably walks away with this one against Monte, who's a little bit of an unknown. But, man, this guy looks good, too. He's 1-1 in the PFL, got submitted in like 24 seconds in his debut, but then came back and just scored a big knockout against Sorty. firefight, kind of crazy, swinging, wanging, and banging, and got it done. So it's an interesting fight. This guy, in 9-2 overall, he's also his 9 finishes. So combined, Wilkinson and Monty, out of 24 fights, there's 23 finishes. That's something that is something to look at in an over-under prop. And especially the way these guys fight. Monty just comes forward. That's why it kind of freaks me out. Like, I think Wilkinson's the better striker for sure. I really do. I think that, if he could keep his distance, use the jab, use the kicks, the knees, and then get in the Muay Thai positions when he's kind of broken Monty already, and use those knees to the body. I think those body knees are going to be huge. And finish this guy, I think he could do it. But if he gets clipped by a guy who can hammer like Monty can, I could see him going out. I just don't know. And he's been finished twice before and has only 2 losses. So I like the under 1.5. I just think that in a firefight, it's going to favor Monty. But in a technical fight, it's going to favor Wilkinson. Regardless of the fight, under 1.5 feels like the play. It feels like good value at minus 130. So that whole play, I just went over the Nunes and this fight. The Nunes and the under 1.5. So the Nunes inside the distance and the Wilkinson Monty under 1.5. That parlayed together is plus 184. I'm taking it for 2.5 units, and I really like both legs a lot. I think both of them should hit. If anything, most confident of all these picks, got to be Nunes inside the distance. I just think this guy is just going to run through Dylan Potter, a guy who retired. What are his motivations to even be in there? Said he doesn't like to train anymore. Said he doesn't even like to fight. Takes him on 2 weeks' notice just because. That was back in October. And here he is, short notice replacement, taking a fight against a dude who is an absolute killer and an absolute beast on the mat. Love Nunes inside. Wilkinson Monty should be as fun as long as it lasts. I think Wilkinson takes him out probably near end of round 1, potentially beginning of round 2. And then our Hendricks fight. Again, just a shot at the plus 300 money. I got to take it. Hendricks beat him, finished him last time out. If he could weather that early storm, I just don't see why he doesn't do it again. I think he's a more hungry fighter. I think he wants to keep his spot in this roster, and I think he does it again. 1.5 on that one. That is it. That is it for now. One free play will come out tomorrow, but the $19.99 pick package will be out tomorrow as well. Stay tuned. I appreciate you boys checking this out, and I will see you tomorrow, baby. Let's go. Let's cash them.